Hello, welcome in. Just getting myself a little bit organized here. Today, we are going to be going over the different styles of healthcare, health practices, and some of the terminology that can be super confusing that goes along with that. So, things that we're going to cover are traditional healthcare, functional medicine, foundational medicine, and integrative medicine. Are you ready?
If you're ready to take back control of your health, you're in the right place. Welcome to Awaken Wellness with me, Tanya Candy, registered nurse and health coach. Now, I'm not your typical nurse. I consider myself divorced from traditional healthcare. I broke free of the sick care system in 2019 when I realized that the root cause to my sickness, my autoimmune disease, and my chronic pain was me. If you're ready for truth, for clarity, for honesty in a tough, love, compassionate way, I'm the coach for you. Join me while we dig into our root causes of sickness and disease.
Okay, so let's start with healthcare, like normalized healthcare. I've come to use some not so lovely terminology for that, like the sick care model. So, yes, I am a registered nurse by licensure. I still keep my nursing license. I practice on the education side of my nursing scope of practice, right? So, traditional healthcare, when we think of it, there is, of course, testing, there's investigation, there are diagnose codes, right? So everything in that model is about billing, is about coding, is about standards of care and certain models. So if you go in and you give your symptoms, you give your list of complaints, or if you're there for a well visit, which isn't usually the case. People don't go to the allopathic doctor model. They don't go when they're well. They go when there's a complaint. So you come with your list of complaints, your symptoms, right? And then they're going to run some testing. That testing and everything is geared from and driven from the diagnosis code book, right? So whatever agencies make those credentials, make those standards. This is the code. These are the labs that go with it. This is the code. These are the medications that go with it. So everything in that model is driven by you, the consumer, the patient who is sick, to try to help you control or mitigate your problems, right? Not to fix or solve your problems, but to help you control with a solution, usually a medication, maybe a surgical intervention, different ways that they're going to help you fix this problem. That's the normal allopathic healthcare route. So, when I call it the sick care model, it's not necessarily derogatory, it's just true, right? It's trying to mitigate your sickness, right? So it is a sick care model. You go there when you're sick. Now, places that I still really appreciate this model is definitely emergency situations when your body is literally on fire, like something major is going on. You need that emergent level of care. You need to go find out what is going on. Where is the fire, right? So next, I want to explain foundational health or foundational medicine. I think, especially as the politics, if things are flipping right now, this is such an exciting time, like for all of us. Awareness is at an all-time high. Awareness of toxins, food issues, vaccine issues, all of these things. It's just like ready to volcano out. So people are going to be mainstream hearing about these different words. And that's why I think it's a perfect time to start explaining some of them. So, foundational healthcare or foundational medicine, whatever you want to attach on the end of it, for me, that's even kind of a new terminology. Foundation is like, think of your house, your structures having a good foundation. You have to have a firm foundation in order to build on top of it, right? So I work a lot in that foundational health space. For me, what foundational medicine, foundational health means is a really deep cellular level detoxification and parasite cleanse. For me, I am a Cellcore Biosciences practitioner. So Cellcore, that company is the majority of the foundation. So it would serve anybody well to set the stage, to set that foundation of health before they go further into really purifying their health, really solving their problems, really curing their sicknesses and their diseases. We have to have that foundation. So I know it's totally dangerous for me to use those words cure, right? We don't like to use the word cure because there's never a promise. We can never promise anyone anything other than my promise to you is your body was created by the Most High in a state of perfection, and your body was created to heal from any sickness and disease when you give it the right conditions, right? Your body is only a product of the environment in which you, my friend, expose it to. So when I work with people, you have to be ready to take accountability for what you're doing that is manifesting sickness and disease in your body, right? So it's not the easy button by any means. It's not easy being sick either in the sick care system. It's not easy being sick either. But when we do foundational health, we are literally pulling weeds in your body, in your garden. We are going to cellular level detox. So sometimes I hate the word detox because really people take it way too lightly, way too lightly. When I say detox, it's yes, absolutely about your liver. It's about your cells. It's about your mitochondrial health. It's about all of that, right? So it's not just some little liver cleanse. And then once we do that 120-day foundational detox, we have to live in a toxin free lifestyle, like as close as we can get. We have to do the work. Of course, outside of being Bubble Boy, right? If you guys do you remember the old Bubble Boy movie? When you think of that movie and go back and watch it, especially if you're my generation, go back and watch Bubble Boy. You'll be blown away, like blown away by the background politics and everything else. Is like way funnier at this age and kind of scary. But anyway, outside of living in a bubble, we have to on a daily basis mitigate our toxic exposure, but we also have to have our liver open and those methylating pathways working. In my foundational level, my foundation program, I always do bioenergetic testing, which tells us a ton. But if a person is willing and can afford it, I love to do genetic SNP testing. So we know where you're at with like your MTHFR gene mutation, and we know how to support your body for your particular gene makeup. There's so many people that have got genetic problems that they don't methylate correctly. They haven't their whole life. So then by the time you get into your 30s, your 40s, and even kids are experiencing it. They don't detox correctly. They need help. They need assistance. A lot of that comes down to your B vitamins and these fake toxic vitamins that are sprayed on the foods that we eat that our body can't use, our body can't methylate, and they're nothing but toxins. So anyway, that's not really what I wanted this presentation to be about, but yet it's hard for it not to be about that because we're talking about foundational health. Your gene pool, your genetics are the foundation. It couldn't be any more rock bottom than what your genes need for nutrition, for proper function. So, in the 120-day detox, a lot of my clients that I work with will totally choose to DIY, like do it yourself, walk through that 120-day foundation. For the majority of people, if they're not chronically sick, that kind of covers it. After 120 days of changing your diet, of doing cellular level detox and parasite cleanse, they just feel amazing. Their hormones balance naturally. The blood sugar balances naturally. For a lot of people, like that's it. You get there, you do that foundation, you restore that foundation, and then you go on being smart, um, learning your lesson, creating new habits, getting a little exercise, eating better, staying away from sugar and processed foods. And like most of their problems are solved. If that's not the case, if those problems aren't solved or pretty much taken care of in that 120-day foundation, then we move to the functional medicine. Okay, I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to take a pause. Then I'm going to tell you about functional medicine. Functional medicine. And now some people are very careful. Some like practitioners who do what I do that aren't nurses, that just have functional training, they are very careful not to call it functional medicine. Like, we're careful with our words. We don't want to get tripped up in that model, in that medicine model, right? So, from a functional perspective, we are looking at how the body functions. The medical model, the allopathic medical model, they are, in a sense, they do testing and they're looking for causation, they're looking for abnormals, but they're not looking for optional function. So it's just a really different way of looking at even a blood panel, a set of labs. If I'm to look at it just as an RN, as a nurse, for normals and values and what does that maybe mean is going wrong in the body, that's a completely different way of looking at it from a functional perspective. From a function, we want to see how the body is functioning. So what might come off as normal over here in the allopathic model is not optimal, right? So like if your blood sugar, your A1C is in normal range, and your doctor just says, well, congratulations, come back when you're sicker, come back when you need some metformin, right? Or come back when you need some Ozempic. That is a completely different way of looking at it. Over here on the functional side, the same value might throw off some red flags, especially if your triglycerides are high or your stress hormones are high, or your insulin. We always, in the functional model, we always want to know what your insulin values are. When we test thyroid, we want to know what your reverse number is. We want to know what your antibodies are. So it's a completely different way of looking at things because we want to know how your body's functioning, even your immune system values. If your white blood count is like running low or if it's running high on either side of normal, like to us that signals an issue that signals micro infection, that signals autoimmune, like your body's working really hard, something's going on. Even in normal like lab values, say if your potassium, your sodium, your other electrolytes are on the edge of that normal, from a functional standpoint, we're going to say, I think that your adrenals are a little bit tired. Like something is going on there. What else do we need to know, right? So when we do functional health, for me, when somebody comes through my door, I have multiple approaches depending on their needs and how open minded they are, or how deep into this rabbit trail or different perspective they are. So, I have some clients that come in on multiple medications, which I don't manage, I don't diagnose, I don't treat their condition, right? I don't treat high blood pressure. I don't treat any certain diagnosis, right? So, but sometimes I have to be integrative. I have to be the bridge between these concepts, between the allopathic and the functional. I have to be that bridge, and we call that integrative. Integrative is when you're kind of taking the best of both worlds to get the best outcome for the client. So they have to have a doctor who's kind of willing to work with me, and we work on lifestyle modifications. We work on using food as medicine. And that functional side, sometimes that is how we start our relationship when we're working together. We are functional two is taking your symptoms, and it's a little bit like allopathic medicine where we're focused on symptoms and we're using supplements to modify the symptoms. So similar where the allopathic is using medications to modify the symptoms. So in all honesty, functional is, it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite. I like that foundation first, but not everybody's ready. Not everybody's committed enough for that foundation. That foundation is a lot of work. You have to be responsible. So if somebody's, when they're coming in, if I just need to get them feeling better and getting their mitochondria up, getting maybe their drainage open, and starting to make them feel better and feel confident, giving them a little food plan to follow, and starting to get their superhero cape on, right? Like we can be our own superhero when we can muster up some self discipline. When you work with somebody like me who gives you some directions and you just don't feel lost. A lot of my clients, when they come in, they're on social media, they're hearing about all of these things, they're hearing about parasite cleanse, they're hearing about heavy metal detox, they're hearing about this, that whether it's soursop or shilajit or all this stuff, they're hearing it on social media, so they're grabbing because there's symptoms and they're excited, and so they're grabbing, and then they get the product and they use it for 2 days, and then they're on to the next thing. They see the next social media commercial. So, oh, that sounds like me. I need that. So, most people have got a cupboard full of supplements that they either don't need in the first place or they're incorrectly using. And frankly, most people just don't have the follow through, right? They're just squirrel and they're on to the next thing. So when you work with a coach, when you work like somebody like me, I'm gonna ask you to take a conscious pause of doing all that. Take a conscious pause, listen to the videos, just don't click the link, take a conscious pause so we can get a plan, so we can get you organized. So back to the functional perspective, if that makes sense. Functional is still a little bit more symptom focused, especially if I'm going off your blood work, your labs. Your labs are going to tell me where your body needs support. So we're still supporting the body. We're trying to build the body up, but it's more symptom management. It's not really root cause. It's not really pulling those roots. So when a person's ready, then we do the foundation, we do the root cause, because at the heart of it, I really can't get you better. I can't get you cured until we pull the roots. All sickness, all disease is rooted in parasites. And when I say parasites, I mean that really broadly. For me, parasite means anything that is got its own energy, that makes its own energy, anything that robs you of nutrition, and anything that makes waste product in your body. So that's literal worms, bugs, flukes, ropeworm, tapeworm, all of it, and yeast, parasite like candida, viruses, like all of that. That's when I say parasite, I mean all of it. So whether it's, cancer, autoimmune disease, all of it, there is something where your terrain is off. Your body is out of balance. So in order to get your health back, we have to remove what's not supposed to be there, and we have to replenish what's missing. So a lot of times on that functional side, we are replenishing. But if we haven't pulled the roots, if the bacteria is still off, if your parasites are still there, then you're losing that nutrition, right? We're always kind of treading water. With that functional aspect, like I said, if you do the foundation, like that first 4 months, then we go into the functional. Then we do some testing. Then we maybe do a stool test to see what's going on in your microbiome, to see what's going on in your liver and your bile, and what kind of digestive enzymes that your pancreas is putting out. That is great. Or if you're not feeling amazing, it's time for food allergy testing. That's another favorite one of mine. So we can really hone in specifically for you what your body needs for rest. When you avoid that food allergy list, you're giving your body some peace, a place where it can rest, a place where it can heal. With functional medicine, we also do a lot of hormonal correction, right? But we need that foundation there first. A lot of polycystic ovary issues, endometriosis, all of that. When we pull those roots of parasites, stuff like that just clears up. Stuff like that just gets better. Skin issues, eczema, autoimmune conditions, those are tougher. That's not a 4 month fix. And if you have those issues, you're the person who's going to be working with me for at least probably a year. And that first year is going to be super supplement heavy. It's going to be super restrictive on what you eat and what you do. After a year, we should be making significant progress. And then as you clean up your lifestyle, you get the toxins out, you have control of your environment to the extent that anybody can in the world these days, then the supplements taper off. And the restrictions taper off. Those food allergies, they will go away. They will come off when we retest, because your gut is healed, because it's not like, a screen that's leaking all these proteins. So that's where the functional side comes in. We do, like, one of my favorite tests is a Dutch test for your stress and for your hormones. hormone. When we're talking about anxiety and depression, when there's estrogen issues, when your estrogen is being recycled in your bile back up through your liver, that's where those estrogen cancers happen. That's where those colon cancers happen. So we can know that really early on with some functional testing. We can get clues to the dysfunction in your body and prevent the oncoming disease. Like years and years and years before that disease happens, your body was trying to give you clues. So it's so important that we hear our body, that we listen to our body, to these clues, these things that it is trying to tell us. And that is functional health or functional medicine. So, like a quick review, if you're here with me, we went over um, allopathic or normal healthcare, where you're coming in sick. So it's sick care. It's not health care. You're not taking care of your health. You're taking care of your sickness, right? That's sick care. Or emergency, or, trauma, or that kind of thing. So that is kind of how most people think of it. That's where your insurance and your coding and your billing takes care of all that, right? And then there's foundational. Foundation is literally setting the foundation so we can build health on top of it. So this is a wellness model. This is something foundational. Health is something that everybody should be doing. Like, you don't have to do the whole 4 months every year if you're living right the rest of the year. If you do that 4 month foundation and you just go back to doing whatever you were doing, you might as well just book that out January to March and do the cleanse every year. If you're not willing to clean up your lifestyle, then that's what you're going to have to do. But if you do the foundation, you clean up your lifestyle, the body will heal. The body will thank you, will bloom and grow health. I often use the analogy of your body as like a garden spot or a compost pile, right? And your organic food, your grass-fed beef, all that good stuff are like seeds, right? They're seeds, your organic heirloom seeds, and you're going to plant them in your garden to grow beautiful plants, right? But if you had spent the money and picked out beautiful organic seeds, you would be super, super picky about where you planted those seeds. You wouldn't plant them next to your fuel tank. You wouldn't plant them in a soggy, a swampy spot with no drainage. You wouldn't get old potting soil out of the garage and plant them in that. You would want, you know what I'm talking about. You would want that beautiful, mineral rich composted soil to plant your beautiful seeds in. So that is the same philosophy that I have come. That's my awakened wellness perspective. Now, I was trained by the Wellness Way with Dr. Patrick Flynn. It was an awesome program, but it left some holes for me, right? Like, they don't really have what we need for that detox and parasite cleanse. So when I started my journey with them, working with clients and as a patient myself, I was taking these beautiful organic seeds, so really expensive liquid herbs, and I was planting them in a toxic garden spot, right? And I was better. My body was appreciative. I was getting results, but not to the tune of what I should have been getting with the dollars I was putting in and the effort I was putting in. So once I caught wind of Cellcore Biosciences and I started weeding my garden spot, started really detoxing, getting movement in my liver, in that stagnant bile, in the colon, pulling the weeds, the parasites. Like, I had the ginormous ropeworms, the liver flukes, all of these crazy parasites came out of me. And you have to pull those weeds before you can bloom health, before your terrain, before your garden spot is going to produce health. So, I mean, frankly, 3 years later, I'm still pulling weeds, right? It's a lifestyle. It's a process. When I started, I was really sick with fibromyalgia, so much pain in my body, chronic pain everywhere, and inflammation. And I mean, praise God, I am there in that area probably 90% of the way. I still have other areas to clean up. It's a process, it's a journey. Wellness is a journey. Like, we never truly arrive as long as we are taking breath and making choices every day. We have to choose life, we have to choose health. So to wrap it up, that foundation is super important. It's a lot of work, and it's worth it. It's worth every penny. It's worth every dessert you have to skip. It's worth it all. It is worth it all to pull those weeds. And then the functional side. So the functional is, you can see it two ways. That can be your introduction to working with me. If that's where you're at, you're a little bit nervous, you just want to start working with me, then that is on the functional side. We're going to do a little functional testing. We're maybe going to reuse your labs, your blood work, and see where your body is requiring some support, and we can stay in that zone for a long time if that's what you're ready for. Or if you've done the foundation, you've done the detox, you've done the parasite cleanse, and you're not like super impressed and just woo, feel like you're 10 years younger again and you're ready to go, then we go deeper. We have to look at the gut. We have to do some testing. We have to see where your holes are and what we need to rebuild. We have to see if we need to go deeper yet in the detox. If there's some Lyme disease, if there's some mold issues, if there's some viral issues and skin issues, those we're going to go deeper. So then the foundation is going to start overlapping with the functional. So we overlap the foundation and the functional to get you where you need to be. And again, I absolutely believe that you, my friend, were created to be perfect, to be whole, to be well. And your body will heal when you remove what is not supposed to be in there and supplement what is deficient, what your body needs as building blocks. The Lord supplied us with everything we need. We just have to remember how to use it. When I work with people, we also, with my bioenergetic testing, we do emotions as well. So I've got multiple different scans that we use to help you detox negative emotions, to help you balance that side as well. And that, I'm so thankful that I have that to offer my clients. And a lot of people do need referred out. They do need the talk therapy. They need to go deeper because our emotions, our traumas, those things that are in our past that are kind of haunting us a little bit, it's a big, big, important piece to your overall wellness and your healing. So, the whole thing, we look at the whole you. How can you get a hold of me? You can go to my website. It is awakenwellnessllc.com. Whatever social media you're watching me on, there's that handy little link in bio. Just go there, click that. If you get yourself there, I've got some free programs, some little ebooks, like downloads. There's a lot of things that you can choose from and just start somewhere. A great place to start is there's a link that you can click on. It's a little symptom quiz. You can take that symptom quiz, and that will really get you thinking. It'll really get you thinking. Another great place to start is with my free ebook that is the 7 inflammatory foods. So you just start to see if you have got what it takes to do this path, you have got to have some stick-to-itiveness. Like, that's a real word, stick-to-itiveness, right? Like, if you've been going around the mountain and going around the mountain, and especially females, this is part of your hormone cycle. When you're going up that climb with those hormones and you get that little testosterone bump. This is my bonus lesson. So when you get that little testosterone bump, that's when you feel really good, when you are thinnest, when you start new projects, where you want to go shopping for clothes because you feel good about yourself. That happens at the same time every month. If you start paying attention, you're not that complicated. You're not that hard to figure out if you are tracking your behavior on a monthly cycle. Like, it happens every month, right? So you feel good, you get that testosterone bump, you bought new jeans, you got your hair done, because you felt good about yourself, you flirted with your husband, his behavior was cute, and then you ovulated, and then your hormones started to deplete again. Now you feel fat and you feel yucky. And you don't want to remodel the house anymore. You're over it. You're not working out this week. You're fat. You just want to sit on the couch and feel sorry for yourself. Your husband, he's so annoying. Like, this happens once a month, right? So it's your hormones. It's not it's your personality, because it becomes part of your personality, but it's your hormones. And where was I going with this? I don't know. Honestly, I do not know. But that's how we function when we come to understand some simple things like this. And we don't want to take that away. We don't want to use birth control. We don't want to use medications. We want to understand what we're going through. And from a functional standpoint, when we do that Dutch test, if there's something wacky going on with what your liver is methylating, your estrogens, your anxiety and your depression window can be a lot bigger. Like, your estrogen has something to do with those things. Your potential food allergies has something to do with your mood, with how you feel. So I do a lot of education, a lot of education. If you're working with me, that's what I was talking about, my links, right? So if you just start feeling empowered, you start with, say, the 7 inflammatory foods. Do that before you make an appointment with me, because if you don't have enough stick-to-itiveness to at least avoid those 7 inflammatory foods for 30 days, don't waste your money coming to see me. You're not ready. You're not ready. You have to be ready to take responsibility for what goes in your mouth, what comes out of your mouth. You have to be able to take responsibility. Like I always say, when I started all this, I found out, when I was so sick, I found out the root cause of my sickness and disease was me. I was the root cause. What I was putting in my mouth, what I was putting on my skin, toxic feminine hygiene products, bad food, and gluten, and all of those things. I being wrapped up in thinking I could just be normal was the problem. Then with some of that testing that I talked about, especially for me, it was a big thing, was the MTHFR, the gene mutation testing. I've got some strikes against me in the gene pool, so I don't detox, because we always wonder, when you get that whole poor me, like, so other people can eat what they want. They can be living in a moldy house. They can, do stuff, whatever, and they can smoke and drink, and it doesn't seem like it affects them at all. And the next person, it like literally has them on their deathbed. So a lot of that has to do with your genes and what your body can and cannot methylate or process. If you are, you know, bound to have some deficiencies, like in your cell, in your ATP cell cycle, like, we need to know that. We need to know what your body needs to make it run. All right. This is it. I don't see any questions or any comments. If you are on the replay, you can always comment later. I do try to check and monitor my social medias and get back to you in the comments. I already said what to do if you want to know more, if you want to catch some of my free offers, my free downloads, you're going to go to that link in bio. That's the only place you're going to find those free things is on that link in bio. And if you're ready to talk, if you're ready to get serious, then you're just going to get to my website and you're going to book a discovery call. Let's talk. Let's spend 15 minutes talking about your problems and see if I can help you with them or not. You have a great week, and I'll see you next time, same place.